First up is Aisha Gazdar, a multiple award-winning filmmaker based in Karachi. Her work concerns human rights and social issues, especially women's rights. Aisha, you've made very interesting documentaries, and you've been watching. In fact, you're the one who pointed out to me that we should have TV as an important part of this discussion and not just films. Pakistani TV serials are actually known for their very interesting narratives, especially revolving around families and relationships. Now, from your perspective as a filmmaker and as a Pakistani woman yourself, how do you see the portrayal of women in these serials, and how has it changed over the past few decades?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ekta. It's changed and it's not changed. It's like, yes, Pakistani drama was, I think, you know, in the 80s we had really good serials, and I know my friends in India were like, they would say that they were still watching those serials, and we had strong women characters. And I guess I asked you to add in drama serial because unfortunately cinema in Pakistan has really dwindled in the last decade and more, like from sort of 500 films in a year 20 years ago. Now we are down to 35 films in a year, and that's still a good number for us, sadly. Anyway, so coming back to the drama, we had this whole period of the playwright Hasina Muin, and the dramas, and in that sort of the late 70s to early 80s and mid 80s. Television was taking off. They were well scripted, well rounded female characters. It wasn't just yes, marriage was a big topic for women to sort of, for the storyline in the drama and the script. But even then, we didn't have the kind of submissive and the sort of, the downtrodden women, and then that we started having sort of in the dramas in the 2000, in the sort of in the early 90s. And that, I think, was largely in part also because of Indian television, which started streaming across into Pakistan through the, those dishes, the satellite dishes. And ZTV was one of the main culprit. Like we started following suit, the Saas Bahu whole, the drama and the complete nonsensical scripts, and then we carried on. I'll share some examples with you that I was speaking just a couple of days ago. For this only, I was speaking to a friend who's a writer. She's a feminist writer, Atia Daud, and she used to write for channels, and she told me that she was writing very strong women roles, characters, but she was told by the, the editor, content editors, that please do not, like, we will not take those themes. And in fact, she gave this really, it was like a horrific example, but it's really true for, I think, as somebody said, that it's not just in Pakistan and or South Asia, it's probably very much global. That she wrote there was a rape scene in the drama that she was writing, and she had written the woman to have resisted the rape, and they came back to her and they said, no, you cannot have her resisting it, let her submit to it, because we have added, the angle is in the play that she'll be raped, she will not resist, and we will have the rapist sister will then be either raped, or she will she will have a really bad sort of anjam, or end, and that will be his punishment. So she told me, she said, no, I'm not writing this, and so that play was taken off from her. And there has been a resurgence of strong characters, and I would say, especially when you have plays which are commissioned by NGOs. So we have strong content. Like right now, there's one showing on TV, which is called just forgotten the name. It's being shown, and so there are four daughters, or there are three daughters, and here they're showing that the daughters are working, and not just because of economic or financial. Like because they need to, but because it's her vocation. So I mean, things are changing, but very few and far between.
Mm.
And so yeah, and I mean, I would just like to add the OTT. I think platform is an avenue where we can push for more of such strong roles in the mainstream, because they're really very few. We still
Yeah.
have the very Mills and Boons and very Barbara Cartland type of theme still running, and that the girl is submissive, and then she means yes, but she's actually saying no. I
Mm.
mean, really sort of very, very boring, trite themes. We do not show women enjoying themselves in the public space, and which kind of translates back to what we are facing as women in the country itself. So it's, I mean,
Mm.
I know you want to ask me, I mean, of course, it reflects, I think, media
Yeah.
and film reflect very strongly on what then the society is, following through. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is something that all the panelists have actually spoken, that on one hand it's not just reflecting, but it's actually creating these kind of very regressive heroes and these kind of models of behavior. Each of us has to do our bit, whatever we can do in our own ways, whether we are filmmakers or we're writers or we're activists. And I think at this point I would like to bring in Aisha, because through her work, Aisha, you have been creating documentaries that are creating awareness about women's issues, about like for instance the honor deception. It brought up the subject of honor killings, and silent voices brought up the challenges of home based women workers in Pakistan. So you're doing your bit in creating these kind of creating awareness about these issues. But when you come and look at it from the angle of these feature films, or the TV serials which are reaching out to much larger audiences, how is tell us from the perspective of Pakistan, how are they influencing societies about these notions of masculinity and femininity? How are they defining things for the common people?
So I just give you an example, and this is actually even before my films on honor killing and the women at work. This actually happened in India. I was making a film across the region. This is in 2003, so really more like, almost 2004, so really 20 years ago. And this film was looking at the region in South Asia, and how women's rights are sort of, we have commonalities, and in the struggle that we face, and how we've all signed an international instrument, and how we can actually redress those rights. So it was like kind of a looking at, the whole kind of a kaleidoscope of the region through a feminist lens, and I was particularly looking at violence against women. So I was in Bombay, and I was staying at a friend, and there was a serial by the other Ekta Kapoor, produced by the other Ekta Kapoor, and they had shown the woman. So this is a friend who's an activist, and they had shown in the serial the woman who had gone for her paternity, the test, the ultrasound test. Now I didn't
Mm.
even know that was banned in India because of the sex selection.
Yeah.
And so the activists took up that serial, that episode, and they went to court, and they had to apologize. So, to
Mm.
come back to what Anna was saying, that yes, there is pushback. We can, I mean, except that it's just so little, and it's so, like, I mean, few and far between, that it just gets muddied, and it just sort of it disappears in the onslaught of the the patriarchal roles that we are seeing all every day. So I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just giving you that example. And yes, of course, films, I mean, I will completely agree, and I will contest this argument that films and media do not are not a tool for social transformation. They are, except that people who have the control of those, who are at the head of these channels or the production houses, they want to sort of use it for their end. And I mean, female audiences in Pakistan, I think for the dramas at least, they outnumber men
Yeah.
by a large number. But I
Yeah.
mean, to say that, oh, this is what they want to see, no, I mean, show them something different. Even if they want to
Yeah.
see, they do not want to see a girl being slapped because of what. I mean, we had this popular serial where the woman was slapped because she was
Mm.
wearing something she wanted, and her mother-in-law was objecting, so the husband went and fitash slapped her. I mean,
Yeah.
you cannot. And so I just feel that we have to have watchdogs protesting this. I mean, pushing back. And unless and
Yeah.
until we don't have that on a very regular basis, we're just
Yeah.
going to be like, talking to the converted and
Yeah.
not finding results. And
Yeah.
and I wanted to actually, talk about like Therese in my first like when I was discussing,
Mm.
and I thought
Mm.
that was like, yeah, it was kind of, thriller noir, and Hazara Hatke, but it was a very interesting premise. People who I watched it, and I think I was the lucky ones to log on before they banned, and I
Mm.
found it very interesting. Of course, it had, I mean, but it was because it was the director was a man, but it was a very female-driven serial. All the main
Yeah.
characters were women, and it was a very women. But I would be interested to know how it went down in the Indian audience. Maybe the sort of the novelty factor that it was like, Pakistani women acting. But so I mean, and yeah, and again, to go back to your question, Ikta, that yes, of course, I mean, documentaries do make a difference. And I mean, I would say I was lucky because this film that I made on the women workers, I mean, obviously, it was used widely by the NGOs who were working on that issue to push for laws. I mean, obviously, the
Yeah.
film didn't make it happen, but just the visuals. I think
Yeah.
we know how important visuals are. So why not
Yeah.
use that to. And this thing about market forces, I mean, okay, so market forces. So we had Ramzan recently, and
Mm.
most of the ads on the social media platforms, so there's a change, there's been a sea change, that these
Mm.
ads are now like either showing men working in the house, they're washing clothes, they're cooking. So they're
Yeah.
bringing little sort of the differences, I don't know. So they can do it, it's just maybe just sort of relegated to maybe just a season or whatever. And then people come up with, oh wow, oh what a great ad, and they've been with for cooking oil or for detergents. But so they do it when they want to. So it's just like, I think that a lot of pushback is required. And but I also know that market forces. And I mean, we are talking about big productions. So yeah, but
Yeah.
I just feel that more women talking about it, at least, and organizations. It has to be done collectively, and maybe
Yeah.
as a regional I mean, talk about collaborating more, like with India, with Sri Lanka, with Bangladesh. Having many more collaborations.
Mm. Mm.
Agenda, like sort of have entertainment. You don't have to have. You can have serious stuff in an entertaining way. You don't have to have it in
Yeah.
a boring morose manner.
Yeah.